Those who dream by day are cognizant of many things which escape those who dream by night. Jessica Bridenthal, how you doing?
Oh, doing pretty good.
Guys coming up. You were at the Arnold yesterday?
Yeah.
How did that go?
It was okay. I really didn't throw as well as I wanted to, but I mean, you have those days.
Yeah, and those are kind of weird implements to be throwing.
Yeah, the thing is, my heavyweight was really off, but that's usually the one that's like an effortless one for me. But my sheaf was going like super high, but was like everywhere with the heavy
Right.
bag. But you know what? It happened. So
Yeah.
I still got second. So
Who ended up winning?
Alyssa.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was there Friday when she refused to talk to us. She just, all the old pros were sitting up in the stands, and she was too good to come over and say hi to anybody. But I know
She's
how
not
that is.
always the most social person.
Yeah, I saw Emily ended up showing up, right?
Yeah, I love Emily. She's super fun.
So for those of you who don't know, she was at what college was she at? They had a shooting 2 days
Central
ago.
Michigan. Her husband's the throws coach at Central Michigan.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they were both on campus and like were locked down and had to like leave super late for the Arnold and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, because they weren't even sure she was gonna make it. And
Yeah.
She was posting, I was supposed to be at the Arnold, getting ready to go, and here I'm locked down. And yeah, we just had a podcast on. We just recorded a podcast last weekend with some local teachers who.
Yeah, we
were
actually
talking
listened to
about
that on the way
they
from
were-
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, they were. It's shocking that you have very little in the way of procedures and
Yeah.
nothing's uniformed, and they're just kind of waiting to see what happens, which in this day and age seems to be happening way too often.
Mm-hmm.
But so you are two-time world heavyweight champion? Just one.
This is going into my third year of Highland
Right.
Games.
So you won ours last year. We had
Yes.
the Highland Games World Championships
Yeah.
in Vermillion, Ohio last year, and just won that. And
The year before, I started after the World Championships, like with the way timing with it.
So you only had the opportunity to compete at one so far.
Yeah, like that year, I think the only the big games I actually did was Pleasanton, and just pretty much as Adrian was like, "Hey, drop my name, let's go."
Yeah.
So yeah.
Pleasanton's a big deal. How'd you get involved in this?
Adrian.
Right.
So pretty much Adrian, I went to Ashland, for those of you that don't know. And then, so like me and Judd like had talked about considering training post-collegiately in the hammer, but then I got really hurt my senior year, and then like the whole time and money and trying to train for the hammer and like the high level of competition, it just wasn't like, we just didn't really think it was worth it.
Right.
So then we were like, well, I need to do something because I'm a psychopath when it comes to being like competitive and needing something to train for. So Judd's like, well, you need to do Highland Games, like go talk to Adrian. And I was like, okay. And then I was working in Worcester and Dirty At's there, so that's where I pretty much just was like, okay, someone teach me how to do this.
Yeah, I've got some great old pictures of when Adrian first came out, because I worked with Adrian the first time, and Judd sent her up to me to work with. And there's a picture of my son. It was probably like 3 years old at the time, like walking her weights back to her, when she was throwing. We took her out to a field one day, but yeah, Ashland has produced some. 6 world championships for women's?
Adrian has 5. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, something like that.
And where's the worlds this year? Oklahoma.
I think it's like the second weekend of September yet.
Are they paying you?
Yes, that's what I've heard. Now they have not given us like the exact numbers, but they said it would be similar to this past year, and they were at least going to give us some hotels and stuff. So I'm not really sure what they're doing.
Make sure they hold them to it, because the lady who is running it messaged me several times. Very, very nice lady. And she was kind of just asking how much we paid and how we got the money and hotels and all this stuff. And the only thing I told her was keep the IHGF out of your competition, because you don't need them. They don't do anything for you. Give that money to the women, because they're going to give and IHGF is involved, I saw, but you got to give IHGF a lot of money to say, quote unquote, this is a sanctioned competition. And I was telling her, if you put the money up and the top 10 girls show up, it's really legit competition.
Yeah.
And that's how, when the IHGF tried to get involved with the Celtic Classic in Bethlehem, which was our nationals, I had a talk with Jane, and a bunch of us had a talk with Jane. Said, we know this is nationals. You don't you don't have to affiliate with anybody. You know, you pay the most money. You invite the best guys. It's nationals. You know, you don't need someone to tell you that that's what it is. But who cares as long as they give you the money? That's
exactly. Like, and I know like I'm a college coach. I don't have a ton of money, so I like to go to these. So like if I can't, you know, at least break even on the trip, like I'm not going. So,
I totally agree with that. Yeah, and you guys put on such a good show. That was why we wanted to have the women instead of the men.
Yeah,
I mean, not that the
girls.
The men look like they're starting to figure it out. For a while there was a lull where, you know, there was maybe like Matt and Spencer were the only guys that were really putting on a show.
There's a couple fun guys to watch now. Like I like Spencer a lot. I love his wife Liv. She's super fun. So both of them are super cool. But there's some good guys like coming up like Chuck. Chuck's like someone to watch.
Never met him.
He's like annoyingly nice guy ever. Like he's super cool and he's like a great thrower. Tennyson, he's kind of a monster.
I met him on Friday. Very nice guy.
Yeah.
But and then you know Gillingham's always fun. But
Gill's fun.
Gill he threw with us for a lot of years. So Gill took his lumps coming up. We tortured him. I think I've told the story on this podcast before. We were driving through Kentucky, and Aaron and I had just started dating, and we were down there with Gillingham and Craig and Carrie, and we were driving up from Kentucky, and I was going to meet Aaron in Columbus that night. So we stopped, and because we're a young couple in love, I got a box of condoms. Well, we get into Gillingham's minivan, we start driving home. Well, they must have fell out of my bag. So I get up, leave, and I'm like, I get to her apartment. I'm like, where the hell are the condoms at? You know, and I get a text message the next day from Gillingham. Ashley found your condoms in the back of my truck. Can you tell him that they're yours? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So Gillingham got tortured a lot, but he took his lumps and he's doing really good now. But
he's a cool guy.
How did you get involved in throwing to begin with?
So
because you came to Ashland as a basketball player?
Yeah, I was on Florida to play basketball. My mom was a professional basketball player.
Like WNBA? Or?
They didn't have WNBA then, so she played overseas in Ireland, but she's like a super freak. She like led Ireland in scoring like 33 points a game. She was a 6-foot high jumper for Kent State. Like,
wow.
She's super athletic. So that's what I was supposed to do, is go play basketball. That's what I did all through like high school, played like AAU and stuff. Went to Ashland, like my first or second day of like regular season practice. Once I got through the hell that was fall conditioning, I tore my ACL. And so I came back and like really that was a really hard year for me. My dad died and I tore my ACL. I'm like, as like a 18-year-old kid, you're like, my life is over. Like,
you're starting college.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was a pretty like rough time. And then I kind of like got through that. My roommate was Ryan Lotney's girlfriend, Caitlin Exner, so they were both hammer throwers, and Kelly Ash, we were all like pretty good friends, and then I started dating Cyrus Granger, who's a 400 hurdler, so suddenly I'm in this like track group of friends, and I come back my sophomore year, go through fall conditioning again, and I'm just really unhappy. Like, I mean, they have a tremendous basketball program now, but at the time, like, Coach Freilich had just gone there, and like, you know, there's a lot of moving pieces, and I just felt like I wasn't where I should have been, and I had like a lot of injuries, and she really didn't have a whole lot of faith in me coming back. Like, she's the one that recruited me, and then it just like went pretty sour from there, I think. So next thing I know, I'm like in the weight room one day, and AG was like, he was like my strength coach, and my like practice like in my class time was like really weird, so I was lifting like by myself with AG and Malcolm.
Yeah, AG Kruger and Malcolm Majeski.
Yeah, and we were in the weight room with like with the track kids, with the throwers, and I think Judd or AG or someone was like, Jess, like grab this like 20-kilo plate and snatch it over your head. I was like, okay, like whatever. So I do it, and everyone's like, what? And I'm like, okay. So then later, like, I don't know, a week or two later, Judd was like, yeah, after you're done playing basketball, you should come through with me, like, your spring senior year. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Track is stupid. You don't get to hit anyone. Like, whatever. And then my life was, like, getting worse and worse with basketball, and I, like, hated it. And then I don't remember if it was, like, Caitlin or Ryan or Cyrus or someone was like, Jess, why don't you come throw? I was like, guys, like, I threw, like, 1 year in high school as, like, kind of a joke because my boyfriend did it and, like, really showed up to beat Hoban because I went to St. V.
Right.
And that's all we really wanted to do was beat Hoban. I didn't really care. And I high jumped and threw discus.
Nice.
So next thing I know, I like go and talk to Judd, and he's like, "Yeah, we could make something work," and here I am.
Yeah.
a
Did you start
national
off in the
champion.
hammer, or did he
Um,
just kind of push you around to see where you're going to be
kind of
good
pushed
at?
me around everywhere. I think my first day of practice, I threw discus and shot put or something like
Right.
that. And then obviously went to the hammer because everyone throws hammer at some point
Right.
there. Yeah, but my first day of like practice at Ashland, Judd was gone. He had to go to like a conference or something. I think he had a Poliquin conference. And everyone was deadlift maxing. And I was like, well, I'll deadlift max. Mind you, never really been on like
Right.
a real lifting block before, doing like basketball circuit training at this time. And like everyone's in there pulling these big things, and I was like, oh my god, like these people are like super strong, like everyone's like super intense,
Yeah.
like have that like crazy Ashland mindset. And I was like, I need to like prove myself here a little bit. So I think I ended up pulling like 350 or 360
Nice.
that day, like
Yeah.
never really deadlifting before. And I was like, I think you probably could put 500 pounds on the bar that day, and I would have probably figured out a way to get it up. So
Yeah, I learned. Who was I talking to the other day? I can't remember who I had in here. There's so many people in this damn seat, but I was talking about how I learned what intensity in a weight room looks like from watching Deadlift Day, Max Day at Ashland, because it's so nuts.
Yeah.
People are donkey kicking chairs, and I love the one video of you squatting and he's slamming the folding chair on the rack behind your head.
That was a pretty crazy day. He's like, pick a weight that you think would be your max effort for 5 reps. And we're like, okay, I think I picked like 315 or I don't remember, something like that.
Right.
And he was like, okay, now you have to do it for a rep out and you have to get at least 10. And you're just kind of like, what? But then everyone did it. I don't think no one got under 10.
Right.
So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing when you don't want to let Judd down what you'll be able to do, you know.
It's a hard feeling, like, because Judd, especially for me, like, Judd took me from nothing, pretty much took me from this coach that didn't believe in me. She told Judd that it was a mistake to take me on as a thrower because I'd never amount to anything.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, like, and she was just, like, so negative about it. And, like, I remember Judd telling me that going into maybe, like, nationals, like, so I've been on the team for a little over the year, and he's like, yeah, like, she said you never amount to anything. And I was like, screw that, like, I'll show her. So, you know what I mean? He's, like, done a lot for me. Like, I wouldn't be anywhere near the person I would be today if it wasn't for Judd. So, like, to, like, let him down, like, he says jump, you say how high, what direction,
Absolutely,
like, what do you want me to do? So, that's why, like, I think the weight rankings just came out last week, something crazy. Like, they're ranked number 1 out of all divisions.
Yeah, those
like,
2 guy throwers that are just sick. And the one kid's a freshman, I think.
Yeah, I think he's like is he a true freshman? I think he might be a true freshman.
He looks like
Hill is a little.
He looks a little
redshirted.
soft, like not soft like weak, but soft like when kids are young. You know,
Yeah.
he looks like a high school kid, like a giant high school kid.
He's
But
massive.
yeah, but he is just gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
And the other kid, I don't know, he looks like he came out of a different sport or something.
Hill, I'm not sure what he did, but I mean, he's a monster. Like, he's so athletic, and like, he's gonna be one to watch out for. I mean, he already is, but I mean, he's still so young and like getting better so fast. So.
It was funny when I went down there. Judd was not getting the talent. Like, he was really recruiting hard because he was still new down there, you know. So my first year down there, it was, I think, Adrian's freshman year and Jackie's freshman year. And Rich Olm was throwing down there, and Jake Brooks. And so all these people that have gone on to really cool stuff. But that was like that initial group of all those guys that are now in their 30s that are just killing it. Rich is a successful chiropractor now.
Awesome.
Which is funny because when I heard he was a successful chiropractor, I knew him when he was 18 years old. So he was just like a big goofball, you know. And I'm like, Rich Olm is going to work on me, and he's like a really genius chiropractor? Yes, he is. You need to go see him. I'm like, okay, that didn't make any sense to me, but turns out he knows everything. The guy's like the go-to guy for sports injuries. So what are you doing now? What's going on now?
I'm a head throwers coach at Keystone College. It's this little school up in Northeast Pennsylvania. So I was working in Pittsburgh in sales, and then like my uncle died, and like that's where I was like over there with, and then this job came open where my fiance Jared, who also threw at Ashland.
Jared's in the studio with us.
Here. So Jared's from up there, and he actually works at that same college, and he's like, Jess, this position's open. And we're like, oh, that's pretty much like the perfect scenario. Like, we had this joke last year, the kid that had it the year before me, he has like the exact same resume, except for when you look at it, mine's way better. When I say the same resume, like his degrees are the same, his experience is the same, except for like I threw for Judd. So, our plan was to like lure him into the woods and just kill him. But it turned out I didn't have to. So it worked out well.
Yeah, it's kind of cool when the kids come out of Ashland, how it's almost like Belichick with the Patriots. You know, all these teams are always like trying to get their defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators. You know, and that's the way it is. Judd, you know, has these kids graduate, and all of a sudden they're hot commodities because maybe we'll catch lightning in a bottle again. And for the most part, all you guys are doing really well.
Yeah, we have a lot of people out of Ashland that coach.
Yeah.
And I feel like everyone's doing pretty well. Like, I took a year off. I coached at Worcester, and then I was like, I want to make some money. And, like, I got my MBA. I was going to go try to do sales. And then I realized, like, screw this. This is stupid. I want to go coach. Like, coaching's so awesome. And, like, for me, I do it, like, just to be able to give back to the kids the way, like, I was given this great opportunity. And, like, I never realized how great of an athlete I could be until, like, someone shows you how to do that.
Well, especially if you're around a negative person who has, even in their head, that an 18-year-old kid can't amount to something.
Mm-hmm.
That it seems to me that if you have that attitude about someone that young, you shouldn't even be working with kids, you know?
Yeah, I think, because my best friend who played basketball at Ashland with me, she quit like 2 weeks before I quit.
Right.
And her little sister now plays for Ashland and is doing awesome. So I think it was more of, she was a young coach coming into this, was still learning a lot. I think she's developed a lot as the coach.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I have a lot to thank her for, because if she would have been super nice to me, I would have played basketball there and gone on and been done, would have never met Jared, would have never gone to Highland games, you know what I mean? So things work out the way they're supposed to work out. But yeah, I was very hateful towards her for quite a few years.
Sometimes that'll fuel a lot, but yeah, you have to. And I understand being a young coach, but when you're dealing with kids that have, you know, developing minds, and you put something that in their heads like that, you know, I'm glad Judd told you it after you had started to see some success, you know, use it as more of a motivating factor for you. That's a tough thing to say about a young kid, though.
Yeah, but it's been a cool lesson for me as a coach. Like, I'm working with D3 kids. Like, I have a couple good athletes, and then I have some kids that are just like, Keystone's a very like small, not super into athletics like D3 school. So like, we have a lot of kids who like do track literally just to do track, like just to say they can do something, and just like aren't very good athletes. But like, it's been a cool lesson coming from that, and like to never even tell kids like that like they don't have a chance or not to amount to anything, because with the right person, like showing them how to train, showing them how to lose, showing them how to win, and like how to like overcome all these things, like who's to say that one of those kids can't be the next great thing, because you can.
And we both know that you come out of some of these high school programs, you may not have had proper coaching for the last 4 or 6 years if you did junior high, so you could catch a diamond in the rough who doesn't even know they're any good, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
That's interesting, and especially in D3, you probably get that chance a lot more often than, you know, maybe you're pulling them out of a different sport in D1 or D2, but the guys that come in just to throw, and when Adrian was coaching at Tiffin, that was my advice to her, is I said, you know, you may not be able to recruit with some of these schools, but go look at that kid who's 6'4" and is a good athlete, but he's only throwing 45 feet in the shot in high school, because their technique's probably going to be junk, and you can just break some habits, and you know.
You take that kid that is an athlete and can be explosive over the kid that's been throwing and he hit 50 feet in high school. You know what I mean? Like, cool. You know what I mean? Like, because that's not, like, Judd would never have picked me. I'm pretty sure I lied to him when he asked me if I did track when I first
all the time. I was huge.
He was like, you just threw in high school? I was like,
sure. All the time.
Would you throw like 44 feet in the shot? I didn't know what 44 feet in the shot was. I was like, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, like, my whole first redshirt year, I don't think I threw over 40 feet. Judd bet me like a steak dinner, and I still didn't break 40 feet. And I'm very highly motivated by food.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I was like, yeah, but I don't even know if he knows that. I'm pretty confident that I lied to him, but I don't even know if I was lying, because
it's not
I didn't know.
necessarily a bad thing. We have a guy in here, older guy, he's like 65, but he always tells this story. Well, he told this story to a young kid coming up in the gym who was struggling with life, and he said, you know, when I was a young kid, I went to work for UPS and started off loading trucks. And then one day, the boss came by and said, hey, so-and-so, first of all, he told him he was older than he was. So he was like 15 years old. He told him he was 18. And he got a job on a loading dock. So then one day the foreman came by and said, hey, so-and-so called in sick today. We need someone to drive his truck. Do you know how to drive? Yeah, I know how to drive. He had no idea how to drive. So he got in there and figured it out real quick and drove. So then he was a truck driver for a while, so he got that promotion. And then one day they fired an accountant, and they said, hey, do you know anything about accounting? Yep, I can do payroll. And all of a sudden he's the accountant for the place. So he worked his way up that way. The guy's doing really well now. He's you know, all these apartments and everything. He says, just fake it and figure it out. You know, worst they can do is get rid of you.
It's kind of what you got to do in a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah, people don't get that. Tate Fletcher talked about, I saw him once on a podcast talking about he was up for that movie Sicario, and they said it was a Spanish-speaking part. You needed to know Spanish. And they went in and they said, when he got the thing, is how many people in the audition spoke Spanish? And they asked for a show of hands, and he was the only one that raised his hand. He had no idea how to speak Spanish. They called him in. He got the part, and then he learned how to speak enough Spanish to get through the movie.
Oh, my gosh.
It's like, not a bad way to go, you know.
No.
Yeah. So we're in prep for Highland Games season, right? Mm-hmm. You did this thing yesterday, which for those of you who haven't seen the Arnold Highland Games, it's a Highland Games, but it's not, because you don't throw the standard implements, and you're into. I don't know if I could throw, like, that freaks me out that people are that close to you, you know?
It's a little weird. I almost killed someone with the sheaf yesterday.
Yeah, I let go of sheafs early sometimes, you know.
Well, that's like with the heavy bag, and I have a Jonathan Irvin fork. Like, I freaking love that fork, but like my tines are tiny, which is great for a 10 or 12. But then put it up with the 16. Like, as soon as I would get any drive down, like it would just boom.
Yeah.
Like there was.
So you start thinking about that, and that one video of Spencer Tyler trying to break the world record in the sheaf, and Arnold stands right next to him doing the Snapchat, holding out the phone. And I told Spencer, I said, the only thing I would have been thinking is, if this lets go early, I'm going to kill Arnold, you know? There's no way I could have thrown like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I don't know, that's totally different animal thrown in that thing.
The caber throwing inside is.
What was it, an
aluminum? Yeah,
caber?
it was really light. Like, I think it was only like 60-some pounds, the girls was.
Right.
And it wasn't like super big or anything. It was just like the weight was really weird. I mean, I got an 1155, but I mean, I think me and Alyssa were the only two to flip it.
Right.
It was like, it had some notches on it, but I mean, it wasn't a bad caber, but at that point I was kind of like, meh, but a couple people almost dropped it on the crowd, so.
I know that they used to throw those in Iceland, because there's not a lot of trees in Iceland, and when guys would go up there for Highland Games. We went, there was cavers. They weren't very good cavers, like super old rotting wood, you know, 'cause who knows how old those things were. But yeah, I've heard of people doing that before. I've never thrown one though.
This was my second one, because there's one in Pleasanton. I think our challenge caver's a metal one.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. And you throw it on the track there, right?
Yeah, you throw it on the
track?
horse thing, so it's a little weird, but it's not bad. I don't mind the metal ones. It's just a way different feel than like the trees.
Yeah, I remember throwing on that track in Pleasanton and get up to 100 degrees, and you're standing out there just baking.
You were cooking. This past year we went, oh my gosh, like we were just dying like the whole time, like just getting like sitting in buckets of ice, and like it was a hot one this year.
They're paying you this year too, right? Isn't Pleasanton paying you?
Yeah, they've always paid.
Oh,
since I've started anyways.
Okay.
So, but they've like are like paying you more and more, it seems like, so. But I like Steve Conway. He's been super good to me.
Steve's a good dude. He years and years and years ago, he gave me an open invite to Pleasanton anytime I wanted to go, and I ended up going once, and then being a typical asshole pro, Wisconsin paid a lot more money, so it was closer. It was, you didn't have to.
Yeah, people keep saying for me to try the Wisconsin one. I haven't yet.
Wisconsin's cool.
I'm not saying I won't, but I like the excuse of going to California.
It's not. I don't think it's it's not a very stacked women's field up there.
I think it's getting more competitive, because I think last year there was Adrian, Alyssa, Katie Crowley.
Oh, well, yeah.
Like, I mean, there's some good girls there.
Right,
It's not like it's a bad competition, but Pleasanton's fun because it's always like me and Megan McKee and then whoever else is coming, whether it's Liv or Emily or you know what I mean. Like it's a fun group of girls out there. So.
Yeah, and that's the way when we were throwing, a bunch of the guys would go to Pleasanton and then a bunch of guys would go to Wisconsin. You kind of split it, and then I think Alexandria is that same weekend too.
Yeah.
Alex Murray was always trying to get us to go down to Alexandria. We're like, pay us more, we'll come down.
Yeah.
You gotta go where the cash is for sure.
Well, plus we like Pleasanton because Jared threw there at Pleasanton last year too, so it was just kind of like, and he'd never been west of Kentucky.
Yeah. Are you amateur class?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's rising up. Last year was his first like real year starting to get into it. He had some injuries after college, but he's my training partner, so
yeah.
it's a lot of fun. We have a good time training and lifting and throwing stuff. So
how's lifting coming this year?
It's going good. I had to take 2 months off after I got a bunch of injections in my knee in November and December. So I had to take 8 weeks off for that.
For the ACL? Still having problems with that, or?
Yeah. Well, I had like MRSA, and then I came back too early with basketball.
MRSA from it?
Yeah, I had to pick my arm for 3 months. It was terrible. I had like 3 surgeries in a month and a half. Pretty much my joint is like, he took x-rays of both of my knees, and it's like my whole right side is just like bone on bone. Like my cartilage and even my soft cartilage on my bone is gone. I'm getting these bone spurs there. So I don't remember what they injected me with. Some stuff, I have no idea. But it seemed to help a little bit until yesterday I was throwing caber, and like on my first caber attempt I like stepped weird, and I don't know if it was like the bone spur or something's like catching weird, but it was rather uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, but getting back into training, lifting's been going pretty good. Like, it's weird, like I'm stronger than I really ever was in college with like benching and squatting and deadlifting. Like I can pretty much just get in there and not train for a couple months and go in there and be like strong.
Yeah.
My Olympic lifts are not terrible. The only thing that I've noticed is my snatch is down a little bit. We're on a big snatch block right now, and it's just like my timing's really off, which is weird because I'm usually a really good Olympic lifter.
Right.
That's usually where I feel like my best lifts are probably my snatch and my clean in college. But no, lifting's going good. We're squatting pretty heavy. Like we totally trained through the Arnold, which might have been a misplay.
Well, yeah, you have bigger fish to fry though.
That's kind of what I don't think my next game is until Victoria. I'm going to that again.
I never got to go to that one. I wish I would.
Oh my gosh, it is so much fun.
Yeah, I've heard
and that's
that.
why I threw the world record there last year. I was like, hell yeah, I'm going back to that.
Yeah.
So.
I think I got invited the year after I retired, and I was like, gosh, I come back just to go to Victoria, and I didn't end up doing it. But I've heard such good things about that game.
It's a cool games, and they have this ice cream place there. It was like, that was literally
Again,
the main reason
food
I'm going
motivated.
back. Like, it's like the soft serve, but they like dip it in this like gourmet chocolate, and they have like all these crazy flavors. Oh my god, it was so good. I can't wait. That's like my first stop when I get there. So.
Yeah, it's funny, you'll get those places all over. Like, we used to do Voodoo Donuts in Portland and Wisconsin. We had the Machine Shed, and we would go to all these we'll see you next weekend, we'll go to the shed, that kind of stuff. You get into these little restaurants and bars that we had the Yellow Beak Bar and Enumclaw. And have you been out to Enumclaw yet?
Yeah, I went to the first time.
Did anyone take you to the Yellow Beak?
I don't think so.
Oh, you'd know if you went.
I don't think so. We just went to that one breakfast place where they have that like big. I got corned beef hash. It was so good. I don't remember the name of it.
Was it the Nest?
It is something pretty.
The Kettle.
The Kettle. That's it. Yeah. And that was super good.
They give you the full size platter full of oatmeal and stuff like that.
It's like I think I got corned beef hash, and it was literally, I bet you like a 5-pound serving.
It's
I don't know.
Huge.
It's huge.
And you have the owner walks around with all the jungle animals tattooed all over himself.
Yeah. It was great. I'm pretty sure I ordered that corned beef hash and ate it for like 3 days straight.
It was, you can't, you're half order at that place and you can't eat it all. It's ridiculous.
Well, there's like this like little brewery in Enumclaw there that like me and Nikita, she's one of the other big Highland Games girls, she picked me up from the airport, and we get over to the Enumclaw early. We're like, oh, we got a couple hours to dinner. There's this local brewery. Let's go over there and have a beer for a little bit. Like 8 beers later, we're both like trashed, going over to dinner, and then someone's buying us shots of tequila, and that's pretty much how that story goes. So I wake up in the morning at like 4 a.m. trying to recover to go throw the claw, and she looks over, and I'm like just shoving my face full of this corned beef hash. Oh my gosh, it was a good time.
Yeah, see, that's being a pro. That's what being a pro is all about.
That's what we always say, like, it's vacay.
Yep.
It's fun. We're out there to have fun.
You get paid to go on a road trip with your buddies every weekend and do stupid things and make horrible decisions. And
Yeah, I've got some fun games planned for this year. I'm pretty excited.
Where are you going?
First one's Victoria, and then I think my next big one right after that is Alaska. I'm so pumped to go to Alaska.
It's a great games. I went up there 2010 maybe, something like that.
Yeah.
They really. Do you stay with the host families still? Is that
no? I think we're staying at a hotel.
Okay.
Jenny's putting it all together. I know like there's like we're going on this like beer tour thing and like doing this interview thing and then like the games. I'm like so excited for that. Alaska's like high up on my bucket list. So.
It's great. You fly into Anchorage and you'll fly over. I want to say it's the Bosley ice fields. I might have that name wrong. Someone will yell at me, but you fly over these ice fields right before you get to Anchorage, and it's just like hundreds of miles of these snow ice cliffs, and it's like you're right over top of it. You know, I'm sure you're super high up, but it looks like you're low right over it. It's amazing, and then you'll fly into Anchorage, and they'll take care of you. We went up on a glacier. Me and Harrison Bailey took a day because I think they flew you in like 4 or 5 days early or something like that. You know, so we had a lot of time to screw around, and we were with host families who they basically just gave you their house and they went to a hotel. So
really?
They stocked the refrigerator full of food, and they would check in once a day with you to make sure you didn't need anything or make sure you had toilet paper and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was really cool when we went up there.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that games. After that, then we're in like July then, and then I think I'm doing like a little one with Nikita in Baltimore, and then I think I would like to do Portland. I haven't actually like officially signed up for that or anything yet, but
have you been out there?
No,
that's another good one.
Because like I'm pretty sure Portland and the Claw are back to back this year, so we all just want to like stay out there the whole week.
We did that a couple times. Yeah. So. Queen Kayleen runs that one, and really, I mean, she's the best.
Yeah, she's super cool. I met her for the Claw.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to hopefully do both of those again. And then after that, I don't really know. It just kind of depends what else pops up.
When's Oklahoma?
The second week in September. And for me, that gets hard because I'm a cross-country coach, so...
Well, you're coaching cross, too?
Oh, yeah. Since you can clearly tell by my physique.
Well, I mean, did you lie about this, John, too? Sure, yeah, I ran cross all the time, yeah.
No, I did not. I was very straight up with it. I was like, no, like, I really don't know a ton about cross country, but I have some people I can talk to. Like, I at least have my exercise science background. Like, I can figure this out. And my kids actually this year, with me, like, getting the job in August, like, they started practice 2 days before I actually officially moved to Northeast PA.
Right.
And we came in ranked 6th and 9th in our conference, and they placed higher than they did the past 10 years, and both of my guys and girls got 3rd.
Great.
So it's really just knowing how to train and motivate kids and get them to work hard.
Yeah.
They did. They came a long ways.
My guess is if I was training cross-country people, you would just have to be real cognizant of mileage and conditions and things like that.
Just knowing what kind of workouts you're doing. Like, with their mileage was so low when we first started, and we're finally getting up there pretty good now. But like knowing the different types of workouts, like doing some fartleks, doing some hills, keeping their mileage and building them and then unloading them when we need to. Like,
right, yeah.
It's really not as hard as like coming in and trying to coach shot put or pole vault or high jump or something like that. So like that's where I feel like I had the huge advantage coming in here with a school that can really only afford one coach. I'm lucky I do have some assistants helping me out. They're great. But yeah, I was like, I'll take the technical stuff. I know most of that.
Right.
So.
With cross, you can kind of take technical stuff out of it. You know, I'm sure that, I'll have some distance runner out there.
Probably hating everything I'm saying. Oh, I will never claim that I'm the world's best distance coach, and my kids know that. But like, they're really open to that. Like, I'm learning with them. As long as I'm showing that I'm putting in the work, they're willing to put in the work too.
Sure.
So
that's good.
It hasn't been that bad. They've actually done pretty good, and I have some kids coming up that should be pretty good like this next like couple years, so we'll see what happens.
You may actually stumble onto something just because you're not going to be going through the same progression that every coach does. You know, you're looking at it from a totally different angle. You may actually come up with something that works really well. You'll end up looking like a genius.
Maybe, who knows? Can only hope so, but that might be a bit of a stretch. But I'm at least, I feel like smart enough to know that I don't know everything about it. Like, I come from a really strong throwing background, but even then I don't claim to know anything about throwing. I'm always trying to talk to different people, learn different things.
You basically got 4 years of...
5 years, I should. Yeah, so like, yeah, I have a great background, but like there's so many other good coaches out there and so many different styles of doing things. Like, yeah, Judd's program is, I would say, 80-90% of my program,
Sure.
but like you always have to change the other 10 to 15, 20%. Like there's always new things happening. Like I'm a new coach, I need to find my own philosophy and all that. Like, and even like me training post collegiately, like if with Highland Games has really changed my perception of like training. Like I don't train near as much as I did at Ashland, pretty much because I can't.
Yeah.
But like my volume is nowhere near where it was. I only really lift like 3 days a week.
Right.
That's all I really do. We've been trying to do a little bit more cardio stuff.
The weights themselves are heavy enough that you got to really be careful.
Yeah, I try to use like my throwing as like my auxiliaries almost.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the stuff, as opposed to, you have to be good at 9 events. You have to train them all.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are very heavy, as opposed to, the heaviest thing you're ever going to touch in college is 30. Well, for girls, it's a 20-pound weight.
20-pound weight, which is super light.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely a different style of training for the Highland Games. I still don't have a caber, so that is definitely my weak spot.
I went through my entire career, never had a caber to train with.
We actually, there are so many trees around Keystone, we can totally get a couple. That's kind of our goal for the spring or summer, is trying to get some cabers, because I'll go in and I flip the caber at Worlds. Me and Megan were the only two to flip it. So I'll come in and I'll flip these huge cabers, but then I can do super crappy on these other cabers too. So I'm just super inconsistent with it. And a lot of that's me being so young in Highland Games still too. But I'd like to get a couple just that my timing. Even yesterday, they took a video of me and showed me it afterwards. And I am so late on my pole. It's not even funny. My caber is literally at 60 degrees when I'm pulling it.
Best advice I ever got was actually from Craig Smith, and it helped me from barely turning cabers to, in 2012, I had, by formula, I was the best caber tosser in the country, on NASCA. And the advice I got was, because I was always a late puller, he said, just get up to speed as fast as you can. When you feel you're at top speed, just stop and pull, no matter where. Once I started doing that, I never felt if I was late or early. I just stopped, and when I stopped, I threw. So as soon as I got up to full speed running, I would just stop as hard as I can and pull, and boom, I was going over every time.
Get up, I don't even really run. I just take a couple. The girls' cables usually aren't that heavy.
Well, at Worlds, you took 2 steps, turned to the right, and threw it. It was like, okay, because I put up $100 on that. I'm like, whoever wins this is going to get an extra $100, and you were next up and just turned it over.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I can do an extra $100. Put money on the line, it's a difference. Because that was really what made the difference with me and Megan, because it had been pretty close, and then she had a rough time with, I think, the heavyweight. And then when she flipped the caber, I was like, oh crap, now I'm going to have to throw wob well.
Right,
you know what I mean? Pressure's on, and then you're put an extra $100. I was like, let's just get this done. Screw this.
I need the cash. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't let you guys spin in the wafer height. I wouldn't let you throw the sheaf this year, so.
Well, yeah, and sheaf is my first year I was terrible at it.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting the sheaf.
Yeah.
I'm expecting to see some pretty high marks this year.
That's another one where once you get the rhythm, it'll become automatic for you. Oh, I pull at this point every time. Boom, it'll go over.
Well, that's why I was a little disappointed with the sheaf yesterday. I mean, even that was probably, I don't even know. I don't want to say how high it was going. It was high. It was well over the bar.
Yeah.
By 10, 15 feet from the videos we're seeing. But it's when I'm actually practice the sheaf a little bit, I'm throwing pretty high. So, and I'm consistent with a 10 or 12 pound bag.
Right.
So I think you take some of that craziness out of the equation, it should be pretty fun.
Well, I know for the guys, and I'm sure it's similar for the girls, when they go from a 20-pound sheaf bag up to a 28.
Yeah.
I had the world record for 6 years at 25 before Spencer broke it last year. And when I would go from that 20 to throw the 25-pound bag, it was a totally different throw.
Different.
And now with the 28, I can't even imagine. I'm guessing it's the same with you guys going to that 16. So I wouldn't put too much stock in the fact that things weren't going where you wanted them to.
Oh, I'm not super worried about it. It's just such a different bag. But and the world record for it was broken last year in the sheaf. I think we'll see that mark moved again this year. So it should be some. We got some good sheaf girls. So.
Well, we were at Dublin and Liza and Emily were just killing it. I mean, they were all over that bar.
Yeah. pretty much like all the big games, we have girls over 30 feet every games.
Right.
So it's been pretty consistent. Everyone jumps from the 30 feet once you clear 30. I don't think I've even attempted 31 or 32. I just jumped a world record. I'm like, I'm going to get it one of these days.
One of you is going to get it. You might as well be the one to do it.
Exactly. So
it's amazing how far Highland Games for women have come since I got into the sport. So when I was my second or third last year as an amateur, all of a sudden Shannon Hartnett popped up on the scene. There was no girls to throw against. Mm-hmm. So she would come to Ohio and Detroit. She would throw against the guys and beat a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And she wasn't very big. Shannon's, if you notice the poster outside, that's her throwing weight for height. And I just remember seeing her for the first time, and my buddy Alfred, who was a pro, and I'm throwing against her in the amateur class, and he just came up to me and he goes, if you let her beat you in anything, you're not getting a ride home. And I was just like, fuck, that's a little pressure on me. So, but there were a lot of guys that she would beat. And then Connie Price-Smith came on the scene, and Connie was a savage. I mean, she was an absolute monster freak athlete. Yeah. And so her and Shannon went back and forth a little bit, and then Adrian came on the scene, and then all of a sudden it just started boom, boom, boom. These girls were coming out of the woodwork. And
well, I think, and Adrian, I think, is a huge part of this, is just, like, getting other girls involved. Like, getting girls out of the like, powerlifting community, the strongman, the track community, and getting these girls to come throw. Like, you're seeing it more and more, and, like, we're getting some, like, good girl athletes in there now, so.
And you guys are super entertaining, and I think that's so important to get people at these festivals, you know? We just had this argument about strongman, and they were complaining, some people want directors to pay for these athletes, their rooms and pay them more money, and they shouldn't have to pay entry fees to get in. And my theory is, look, I've done Pro Highland Games and I've done Strongman, and Strongman isn't as entertaining. Mm-hmm. You have to go out and be a showman and get people to actually come to your festival. If you're not putting people in the seats, there's no reason to pay you any money.
How do you expect to get paid? Yeah, exactly. And, like, I'm so new to Highland Games, so I hate to say it, but, like, that's what all the feedback that we're getting is, like, we're so fun to watch. We have such a fun group of girls. Like, we're competitive, and we'll joke around and be silly and, like, and do some crazy things. Like, when I first went to Keystone, my new coaching job, I guess the kids, all these cross-country kids were, like, scared shitless. Like, my coach flips trees.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, it's a pretty cool, like, sport. Like, I'm so glad I've gotten into it. Like, it's just such a fun group.
Well, I was telling my wife yesterday, I'm watching videos, because I went down there on Friday, so I didn't get to see the pros throw or anything, but watching the videos yesterday, the two things that are going to bring more people to that event next year and that are going to get more people involved in the sport, number one was Spencer breaking all his world records, because it was pretty cool, and people were going
yesterday.
Nuts. The other thing that's going to do it is those stupid fuckers dancing when they're warming up, because that video will have 1 million hits, and people will laugh at that, and it looks like a lot of fun, and they're entertaining, and the people in the stands are giggling, and that's what's going to bring people into the seats to watch,
Yeah, exactly.
So
they're a crazy group of guys.
But that's why you guys are doing so well, is because you're entertaining, you're fun to watch, and you'll bring more people in.
Yeah, we'll dance, we'll throw far, we'll act super goofy, we might beat each other up a little bit, but.
Yeah, take the pictures with the crowd, go hang out in the beer tent, kiss some babies, whatever you got to do.
Jared makes fun of me so much for this video. When I broke Adrian's heavyweight world record last year at Victoria, there's a video of me, like, running down the crowd, like, slapping hands.
Right.
I had not seen this video, did not know this video existed, till the next morning Jared texted me, he's like, look at your fat pony trot on Facebook.
Jared, you can't say that.
You totally said that.
Pony trot, not fat pony trot.
I have a feeling if you would have said fat pony trot, you wouldn't be in this room right now.
No, but I am. I'm like trotting.
Right.
It's pretty funny.
People probably love that.
Oh, probably.
And then I think you already said, when's Oklahoma?
September.
Oh, September
So
September
I'm
2nd.
100% sure if I'm going to be able to make it just because it's so late and we're in cross-country season.
Well, you're being sponsored by Refined Savage, so I'm going to have to insist that you make it.
Well, pretty much, my athletic director was super cool last year.
Yeah.
He let me miss a couple like cross-country meets last year to go to a Highland game, so I really don't see it being an issue.
But
there's a possibility of
Pleasanton
it
is
being
the
an
week before then, probably.
Yeah,
right?
and I went to that last year, and we had a
Right.
cross-country meet. But this year, I'm also in control of the schedule making it. And we
Right.
only do like 6 meets or something like that.
Right.
So knowing when all the games I want to go to, I'm pretty confident I can schedule their meets around my meets. So I don't see it being an issue.
Yeah. So you do cross country in the fall, men and women, right?
Yep.
And then you're coaching the whole track team?
So I'm pretty lucky. I've had a couple volunteers and I have one paid assistant.
But you're in charge.
But I am in charge of everything.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm fully in charge of the throws, but Jared helps out a little bit with the throws, so that's a huge relief because I can someone I can just trust to do it right.
Right.
But the throws and the jumps, so I do
Right.
those I run the entire practice for those, so that's been a little interesting.
Yeah.
Triple jump is still pretty much a complete mystery to me, but we're getting there in that. The other jumping events, I feel like I'm starting to get a grasp on.
And I'm guessing it's going to be a complete mystery to most of the kids you have coming in because they really don't do that in high school in most places.
We actually have a decent guy triple jumper, but he's just athletic and can do
Yeah,
it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And it's both us just kind of working through it together. I'm pretty open with my kids about the jumping events. Okay, if we can talk to each other and figure it out, we'll make it work, and they're all pretty cool about that. I write most of the sprinting workouts, or at least I'm guiding for that more than anything. More I've done some research and talked to some people who I trust, and I do have a volunteer sprints coach, but he's only there a little bit. But he kind of helps me out a little bit too. So he runs the practices for me for the sprinters, which is nice because otherwise I would literally be there 15 hours a day.
There's a great podcast. Louis Simmons talking about training for sprinters. You have to check out. He really has some interesting ideas. And they all make sense,
Yeah.
And lots of stuff he got from Charlie Francis and from the Jamaicans, and it's really interesting. You might want to check that one out.
I should, because that's what I've been kind of doing is taking the knowledge I know of training and piecing it together with other things, with his help a little bit, and then thank God I have a pole vault coach, because that was the one thing when I got hired. I'm I don't know how to coach pole vault. I won't coach pole vault. I'm not gonna kill some kid because I'm trying to tell them how to teach pole vault, and I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
But I do know how to hold a pole now.
I was gonna say I wouldn't even know how to hold it. Yeah.
My assistant taught me how to hold the pole.
To drop the arm, then
She's probably gonna listen to this and she's Jess, you do not know how to hold that pole.
You do not know this shit.
So yeah, being there, it's been a really great experience. I mean, getting a head coaching job at 26, not a lot of people can say that.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel it's a great resume builder. I'd like to be there for a few years, turn the program around a little bit, which we're already doing.
Yeah.
And it's been a pretty cool experience. So we'll see what happens, but it's been I've learned so much this year about just track and field. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Really having to dig in and almost step away from the throws a little bit and just kind of trust my knowledge of what I have there and kind of let that be and focus on all these other different areas.
Right.
It's been pretty interesting.
As throwers, you don't really get a chance to see a lot of the events, you're the first event. You're usually somewhere way away from the stadium, and you don't get to see a lot.
Yeah, the distance kids are the little people that run around you all
day.
Right,
yeah.
I never even paid attention to a distance. We had Drew Windle and stuff. I would go watch him run an 800, and that was about as distancey as I got.
You could go to the snack bar in between and come back, and he'd still be running,
Even my kids, they put me in okay, I'll see you the first lap, and I'll see you lap 20.
Yeah, that's it. I always talk about people go watch their spouses run marathons. It's okay, you see them at the starting line, and then 3 hours later, you see them at the finish line,
I'm going to totally admit this, and I don't know if hardly anyone, but probably Jared knows. I had never been to a cross-country meet before I took this job.
Yeah.
So I showed
Who would go watch a cross-country meet?
Go watch a cross-country meet, and we had some good cross-country kids at Ashland.
Right.
So now my first meet as a head cross-country coach, my first cross-country meet ever, I was the head coach.
Yeah.
So that was...
Okay, what happens? What happens now?
Just had to completely pretend I knew what was going on, but it worked out okay, and the kids did really good this year, and I'm sure some distance people out there are hating me right
Right.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, they'll get better.
They did get better, and they're still getting a lot better, and they seem to have fun, so...
Yeah. Good, that's great.
But they like to make fun of me, and me and Jared did sprints. The past couple of weeks, both of us got hurt.
Yeah.
And The kids are making so much fun of our running form. Oh my gosh. I was like, because I coach them all the time in running form, and then like to watch me run,
Right.
like I'm not a runner.
Do what I say, not as I do.
Exactly. Yeah. It's,
My wife made me go out and sprint when we first got married. She's like, "This is gonna help your throwing," and I absolutely think it would have helped my throwing.
it does.
But it blew out my hamstring every time I get up to speed. You know.
That's like Jared like almost tore his groin this week.
Yeah,
Like,
I think you're just developing so much power, and we have no flexibility whatsoever. So you start to elongate that stride, and things go bad fast.
Yeah, I actually work on my flexibility quite a bit. I do yoga like a couple times a week.
Are ya?
I'm more flexible than you'd give me credit for in my lower body. My upper body, like if I try to like touch my arms behind my back, like they're like over a foot apart.
Yeah. I do it with Zach Pape. Two of us go to a yoga class here at the gym every week, and it's ridiculous. It's super competitive yoga because I'll look over at Zach and I'm like, I'm holding this position longer than you, and we're throwing blocks at each other. And,
oh man, watching Pap do yoga.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. We call it broga. And we have
imagine.
this great instructor, Colleen Rainey, who's really good. But it's kind of a mix of yoga and Pilates, and it's death. I mean, we thought it was going to be super relaxing, but it's so hard.
I've gone through phases of it. Like I went to like the hot yoga for like when I lived in Pittsburgh. There's this like great yoga place there. I loved it. I went like almost every morning at like 5 a.m. But now like up in Scranton where there's like literally nothing anywhere. We live in like the mountains.
There's no real gyms out there or
There's
anything?
nothing up there. So I like looked around for a yoga place. I haven't found anything that I liked. So I just do yoga with Adrienne on YouTube.
Yeah,
and,
right.
you know what I mean? Like it's good enough to do what I need it to do. So
it's super important that you do it now when you're young. I wish we even knew about that. I mean, obviously we knew about yoga, but there was no mobility stuff when I was in my 20s, you know?
Yeah.
So to warm up to lift, we just started with the bar at 135, you know? I mean, there was nobody was on foam rollers or finding muscles. I mean, if something hurt, you just toughed it out, you know, and now you figure out, now none of us can move, and you see all the masters walking around the field, and all of us have, I know Judd has the same thing I have, where you can't fully straighten your arms out, and I don't even know what that's from. I never had that until about 3 years ago, and now my arms don't straighten out. I don't know what that is.
Have you ever seen Judd try to talk on the phone?
You get the phone news?
It's like, is it like up and around, like it is hilarious.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I can't, if I'm talking on the phone in the car, I can't keep it up to my ear very long. I'm constantly having to change hands because I can lift 8 million pounds, but I can't hold this 2-ounce phone to my ear for more than 10 seconds.
Yeah. No, I try to be smart about some like recovery and mobility stuff. Like I'm definitely not the best about it, but I try to, because I've had so many injuries. So it's like with the intensity of training that we've done the past 8 years of my life, like I try to be smart about it because I would like to kind of keep training for a while. But Jared has this joke that I really hate, that I'm going to be in a wheelchair by the time I'm 35, and he's not pushing me, so.
Yeah, Erin has that same joke. She said she's going to leave me at the top of the hill with the brakes off and just let me roll down. That'll be the end of it. You got to love the throwing, though. That's what it does to your body.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What do you love about throwing? What is it? What keeps you going?
More than I just like winning, and I know that's like the worst answer I could possibly give.
You like winning and you're good at something. It's a great answer to have.
Like when I took probably 6 months after college where I didn't do anything. Like I was like, I'm tired, I'm hurt, like I just want to take a break. Next thing I know, like I'm a freaking psycho, like screaming about Monopoly, which I kind of do in general anyways, but like just every single thing in life was a competition. Like I need to like train, I need something to win, and like I can lose, I can handle losing, but like I want to win. So like having like that to find something that like I was good at so quick made it really fun.
Right.
But yeah, I need something to train for, I need something to work out for. Like the people, I have a really hard time thinking that I'm just that person that just goes to the gym just to work out.
Yeah.
I'm not that type of person. I need something to like motivate me, and I like throwing. Like I get to travel all over, and like
it's the best.
Yeah,
man.
like
it
why
really
not
is.
do it for a couple, especially like we're engaged, but like we haven't even set a date yet. So like we're young, like we're not like we're just living life.
You get
like
time, sure.
Why not like travel and make some money, see some cool places? Like I get to lift, I get to throw, and get to have fun, and I get to win. So.
And it'll go away in time. So do it now.
Exactly. Yeah. We're not really in a rush with anything, and he's really just getting into throwing too. So.
And you threw it. You threw it, Ashland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you'll.
He was. I would not have been like offered to marry him, or no, he
If you
offered
hadn't
me.
have been a thrower?
Yeah.
Oh, my thing is, I would say I'm only marrying him for genetics.
Right.
He threw over 70 feet in the weight. I'll
That
marry
is
him.
true. There's gonna be there should be a run on you.
I want
Jared
child
is
prodigy
gigantic.
babies.
That's fantastic. So we got Highland Games season on the horizon.
Yeah.
We got track season on the horizon. So everything's moving in that.
Yeah,
Getting ready to
super
explode
busy.
right
Yeah.
now, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like this past like couple months, like getting back from winter break is just like nonstop like training and getting ready
Yeah.
and like I can't wait for first of all it's finally outdoor season for track, like thank God. It's like especially we don't have an indoor facility, so now that it's
Yeah.
like nice enough to be outside and like
And
it's like
for
my
those of
life
you who
is so
don't
much
live
better.
in Ohio or Pennsylvania, it's not nice enough to be outside.
No,
it
we had
still
like 8 foot of
sucks.
snow like
Yeah.
for like a month and a half.
I think it's 45 here today, but I mean,
Which is like feels like summertime.
yeah, we're taping this first weekend in March, so
Yeah, so I mean, even we still threw outside pretty much all winter, which is not the easiest thing to do all the time. But like, for us to be able to start throwing outside again is like just so much nicer, and I can't wait to like get into the spring here when we get some warm days.
Yeah.
And we throw it all the time, and like, I'm really excited for the summer because I don't really have to do that much. I just have to recruit, be there,
Right, yeah.
do some stuff like that. It's not too terrible, just like planning, and I can train all summer. So.
Yeah, you should definitely come out here. We'll get you have you a couple of sessions out in the gym.
We probably will.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Because I want to
again.
do probably some of the local games around here. Like I have family and I'm from Akron, so.
Yeah, well, look at Wellington. Alex Murray runs that one in Wellington, which is 10 minutes from here.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that used to be my home games, and I know they've got a women's class there. So.
I don't even know if I've even heard of that one, which I don't know.
Yeah, I'll shoot you some information.
Yeah,
when
the
we're
only
done.
ones I've really done over here is like the ones the GLSA whatever runs, like Beltane, like the little tiny ones.
GLSA, I think, runs Wellington now.
Do they?
I think, but regardless, Alex would get you in, I'm guessing, without a problem. And it's right at the fairgrounds here. Pretty nice little games. You throw. I don't know if the girls throw the caber, but the pros threw the caber in front of these giant grandstands where they have tractor pulls. So it's kind of like Pleasanton. You sit out there baking in the sun. But yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah.
No, that's great. I probably would like to do a couple games over here, give me an excuse to visit family and go to Cedar Point and
Well, now that you are officially a Refined Savage sponsored athlete, I expect shirts on the tops of podiums all year long.
Well, that's a given. I
I
told you I like to win. So.
Yes, I don't want you doing anything but winning, damn it. I'm glad you didn't get your shirts yesterday. The fucking second place bullshit.
Sponsorship revoked.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else you guys want to talk about before we head out of here? This has been really good.
Not really,
Nothing.
man. Just we got a long trip home today.
Yeah. We'll get you out of here and let you go on your way, and we'll definitely do this again because it's been a
thanks
blast.
for having me. Yeah, I'm sure I'll come get myself back on here one day.
Anytime you want to come on, just give me a holler. We'll get you on the show.
Sounds good.
All right. Jessica and Jared, this has been the Refined Savage. See ya.